All right, I am live. Hello and welcome to the Black Girl Boss Collective. My name is Chelsea Martinez. I am the founder and CEO of the Black Girl Boss Collective, and I'm doing a thing. Okay, I'm doing a thing. I am starting a new live series called Let's Do Email Marketing, where I share with you my email marketing journey as I actually do email marketing. So, for the next hour, I will be working on email marketing for myself, the Black Girl Boss Collective, as well as for my clients. And as I work, I'll be sharing my best tips with you on how to make email marketing work for your business. Um, Feel free to ask me any questions that you may have, any concerns. And I'll also be talking about like a specific thing that I've encountered, a specific tip that I may want to share with you all. And today, that tip is the question that I'll be answering today is: should I use broadcast or should I use sequences in my for sending my emails in ConvertKit? So, a little bit of background about me in case you don't know who I am. Again, my name is Chelsea Martinez. If you hear someone in the background, there is a teenager playing video games and he's very loud. So, just bear with me. So, the Black Girl Boss Collective was founded for Black women business owners. I personally um, have started several businesses, and early in my entrepreneur journey, I started and I was doing things and I failed. I failed quickly. Um, but I didn't want to just give up. I wanted to get better. So I dedicated time and energy and money to learning how to market my business, so that I could actually build a thriving business. So, as I was learning and doing and um, expanding, I realized that other Black women were in the same boat as me. They didn't know how to do marketing for their business either. So I founded the Black Girl Boss Collective to kind of be an answer to that. Um, to help and teach other Black women business owners. Let me get my background out of the shot. I'm live, babe. Okay, so I'm live. So I founded the Black Girl Boss Collective so that I can help other Black women um, learn how to market their business, learn how to build their business. And I just celebrated 2 years last month, so super excited about that. Um, Sorry, I'm doing a tweet right now. So I didn't start off doing email marketing through the collective. I started out with social media strategy and social media management, and that has morphed into email marketing. I truly love it and enjoy it. And not just email marketing, automating your email marketing, so that you can um, have more freedom in your business, have more time in your business, have a sense of peace knowing that your email marketing is taken care of. So that's what I really love to do. And yeah, so I'm going to get this tweet out, and then we'll get into it. I'll share with you all what I'm working on, and then I will start answering that question of sequences versus broadcasts. If you are here and watching the replay, make sure you drop hashtag replay in the comments. I want to know your take on what I'm talking about. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them at any time. I'm happy to answer. Um, yeah, so it'll be about an hour, maybe less than that, depending on how things flow. Maybe a little bit more depending on how things flow. Um, dead space. Sorry, guys. I can't talk and tweet at the same time. Can't talk and type at the same time. It doesn't work. Um, okay. So, all right. So my email service provider preference is ConvertKit. Now, if you follow me on social media, really mainly on Twitter, then you already know that ConvertKit is my jam. I call myself the ConvertKit expert on my social media platforms. And I started using ConvertKit in April of 2020. And when I first started using it, it was very, very scary. It was very scary. It was a lot going on with, and I didn't have really a frame of reference. I went from, I'm not going to say the name of, I'll say the name of it. I went from MailChimp to ConvertKit, and going from MailChimp to ConvertKit was like culture shock, if you could call it that. That's the only thing that I can really describe it as, was like culture shock. To me, ConvertKit was just so much more int- intricate. It had a lot more moving parts than MailChimp did, and it required a lot more from me than what I was expecting at the time. But I took about 3 months to really learn how to use it. And after those 3 months, it was a hard 3 months, but I took my time. I was on the free plan. I didn't, rush to pay for it. I was on the free plan for 3 months, and I did my research. I was on YouTube watching the YouTube videos. I was reading their help documents to understand their system, understand, how to really use it. And I listened to the advice of community members of the community through social media. So through those, I was able to really learn how to use ConvertKit to my benefit and use it to grow my email community. Um, and later in the year, I began offering services for ConvertKit, and I realized that there aren't many people who know how to use ConvertKit, let alone Black women who know how to use ConvertKit and use it well. So I deem myself the ConvertKit expert because I be doing things. So before I go any further, let me just let y'all know you can join my email list. If you're not already there, you can join my email list, um, which I will drop in the description box later on. And join my email list. See if I can put it in the description now. This is new for me. I've never done this before. Never gone live on YouTube. So this is really new for me. You can join my email list where I share weekly tips on how to make email marketing really work for your business. And the reason why I say make it work for your business is because a lot of times we use tools and systems and um, platforms, and we say, how can I make my business work for this? What can I do to make my business work for this? When in reality, we should be working the other way around. We should be making everything we use work for us. So um, that's what I focus on. How can you bring your own personality, bring your own style, bring your business mission, values, and vision to the system that you're using? So what I say, works for me, my business, it works for my clients. That may not be true for you. So take what I say and make it work for you. So that link to the description box now. So you can click that link and join my email list if you're not there already, um, and get more tips similar to what I'll be sharing today, as well as more notifications for when I'll be live, new products and services that I have coming out. I'm really, really excited about the things that I have coming up. So, you guys, you really want to be on the list. I'm telling you right now, you want to be on the list because I'm going to be dropping something soon and you want to get priority access to it. Um, You'll get priority scheduling, you'll get priority pricing, and a couple extra bonuses that I won't be sharing with anyone else. So get on my email list. Now, today I'm going to be working on my own email stuff. Like I just said, I sent out weekly emails to my email audience, and I'm going to be scheduling some of those emails today. Um, what I use to make my life so much easier, and I've talked about it on Twitter before, is called an email content framework. And the email content framework is something that I developed on my own. It helps me really reduce my anxiety. That was one of my biggest struggles with email marketing early on, was, the anxiety of having to write an essay, every week. That wasn't working for me. So I said, okay, how can I cut down on the amount of time that I'm spending writing these emails and organize thoughts in a way that's going to help me really reach my audience? So I created the email content framework that basically outlines everything I need for my emails for a 3-month period. So in about 3 hours, I can sit down and plan about 12 emails, maybe more, depending on what I have going on. So I'll be pulling directly from my email content framework to schedule my emails. Um, and I have some other stuff for the new thing that I'm dropping very, very soon in a couple months. I'll also be working on some emails for that. Oh, but before that, I have some client work I need to do. I have a client that um, she will be launching, relaunching a program. She teaches another language. And she has an adult program that she'll be relaunching. So I am going to take care of the emails for that. It's going to be in an email sequence. So um, email sequence, email automation. That's what it's called, actually, an automation. But we'll be working with sequences and an automation. Um, and I'm going to talk about, automation sequences and broadcasts shortly. So all of the emails are already written. I know exactly who these emails need to go to, which is super duper important. Probably one of the most important things about, using automations in ConvertKit. And so now I really just have to go through it with a fine tooth comb, make sure everything is, set, and then we can turn the automation on and get people, actually going through it. So that's what I'm working on. So first I'll do some client work, um, turn, finalize this sequence and automation for a client, turn it on, make sure everything, is right. Probably schedule it to actually run next week so that I can just turn it on and forget about it. And then after that, I'll be working on my own newsletters for my audience. At any point you have a question, you would, if at any point you have a question, please just drop it in the chat. I have my eye on the chat, so just let me know. Um, so one question that I got this week from a client, she is relatively new to ConvertKit. She set up an account. She was on the free plan, so she hadn't gotten too deep into ConvertKit just yet, as far as like automations and sequences and things like that. But I did some work for her in ConvertKit, and once everything was done, and she had some time to go over it and look over my notes for what needed to be done going forward, and how to actually operate everything that I put in place for her, she asked me a really great question. And I'm so glad that she asked this question because a lot of people have the same question as well. So I thought this would be a perfect topic to talk about. She asked, for this launch that I'm developing, she has a launch coming up. She said, for this launch, should I use broadcasts or should I use sequences to send my emails? And that is such a common question, especially for new people in, especially if you're new to ConvertKit and haven't been using it for a while. But even for seasoned ConvertKit users, we still have that same question. I asked myself that question last month. I said, okay, how do I want to do this? Do I want to do sequences or do I want to do broadcasts? Now, if you aren't familiar with ConvertKit, let me explain what sequences and broadcasts are. I'll start with broadcasts. Broadcasts are like email blasts, just one off email blasts that you can send to your entire audience, or you can send them to segments and groups of people within your audience. You can choose, who you want to send it to, when you want to send it. You can schedule it ahead of time, so that's really convenient. Um, and you have, full editing capabilities and broadcasts. So you can add photos, add video links, add, GIFs. I like to add GIFs in my broadcasts sometimes. Um, you can, what am I thinking? Segmenting, scheduling. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can also resend emails if you need to. Through broadcasts. You can do A/B testing with broadcasts as well. So let's say, you have, um, again, I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. It doesn't work. You can also, um, there we go. Couldn't find what I was looking for. So if you have two subject lines that you think would be great for an email, but you're not sure which one to use, you can do an A/B, where ConvertKit will send out both emails, with both subject lines to a portion of your audience and test and see which one works the best, see which one is most effective. The most effective one will be sent to the rest of your audience. That's a really cool feature in ConvertKit. I really do love it. Um, so that is a broadcast. That is your everyday run of the mill email blast that you would send to a portion or your entire audience. Broadcasts are great for newsletters. They're great for announcements, like the one that I sent today, letting everyone know about this live. Um, they are normally what you get when you join an email list. When you join someone's email list, that's normally what you would receive. You would receive a broadcast. A sequence is a bit more advanced. A sequence is a string of emails. It can be just one, but normally it's a string of emails that you want to send related to a specific topic, that you probably want to send to a specific group of people, or you want to send based on a specific set of circumstances. For example, let's say this was a webinar and I had a landing page dedicated just for this live session. And I said, if you want to attend this live session, you have to sign up. Once you sign up, I'll send you more information. I want to send the information about this webinar only to the people who signed up on the landing page. So I would, set my conditions, and then I would create a sequence that would say, hey, you're confirmed, you've been registered for this live session, for this webinar. Here's the information that you need. The next email will probably be more about, the live session, things that we'll cover. The next email will be, okay, this is what you need to do before the webinar. And then the final email that I want to send out may be, you know, the webinar is tomorrow or the webinar is coming up. Send me your questions ahead of time. Those four emails would be a sequence of emails that would be sent automatically to everyone who um, signs up for this, signs up on this landing page for this webinar. So a sequence is very, very valuable for, things like webinars, things like launches. If you have a sale coming up and you want to send a number of sales emails, you want to send multiple sales emails at in a specific cadence. So like with every day or every other day or every 12 hours, things like that. Um, Sequences are very, very effective for that. Sequences are not that great for newsletters because if I make a condition that everyone who comes onto my list should get these newsletters, then let's say I have some time sensitive information in there, or maybe I have day specific information. So, like, let's say this live session is a weekly thing that I do only on Thursdays, and I put it in a newsletter sequence. If they get that email and it's Monday and it says join my live session now, but it's Monday and I only do the live session on Thursdays, then that's going to cause a problem. Also, like if you want to send a sequence of information to your audience, but you know, the point that they come in, you only want them to receive what comes, after the point that they come in and not the stuff before, then sequences are not that great. Sequences are if, you want people to get information in a sequence, in a time order, day after day, day by day. If it's not, it doesn't really matter what day they come in. You can't control what day they come in and what day they receive emails, but it just works a little bit better if you don't have those constraints. Um, so with that said, broadcasts and sequences I won't say they can be used interchangeably, but there are sometimes you do have some cases where, it really just doesn't matter if you use a broadcast or a sequence. Um, Usually a sequence is for if you want to automate. I forgot to say that part. If you want to automate it, if you want to, kind of like set it and forget it, that's really what it's for. So like thank you emails when someone makes a purchase from your site or when someone books from you. Welcome emails. If someone joins your list, you want them to receive a welcome sequence. That's what it's great for. Webinars and live uh, live recordings, live sessions, video training, whatever. You probably get what I'm trying to say. That's what sequences are good for. Sales sequences, nurture sequences. That's really what sequences are really great for. Newsletters, not so much. So that's it. Sometimes you can use them interchangeably depending on the conditions that are present at the time. But for the most part, you don't really want to mix the two. Um, like for example, I wouldn't send a welcome sequence through a broadcast. That's just a waste of time for me personally. And I wouldn't do um, I personally would not do a sales sequence through broadcasts. That's not something that I would do. I know people who have done it. That's just not something that I would do. Especially if it's evergreen. So if you have like an evergreen launch, meaning maybe like a program or a product that you sell all the time, that have no specific time restraints on it, people can join at any time or purchase at any time. I wouldn't do those through broadcast. You're going to be sending those forever. It's not a good use of your time. It's better to send those through sequences. Um, I feel like I'm getting very, very deep on this, and I don't want to get too deep because I want you all to understand. So let me reel it back a little bit. So, should I use broadcasts or sequences for my launch? And I hate to say this, but it really depends. It truly does depend on a few things. Number one, are your emails already written? Do you have all of the emails that you want to use for this launch already written? If the answer to that is no, then you might want to go through broadcasts. All right. You might want to go through broadcasts because in sequences, if you don't have everything already written out and together, you can run into an issue where, the subscribers in that current sequence have received all the emails that you've put into the sequence, but because you haven't added any more emails, they finish the sequence. All right. Now, ConvertKit has a feature where you can keep people in the sequence you, even if they finished all the emails. Which I'm glad that they put that in place because it was causing issues beforehand. However, it's still not ideal. You want to make sure that all of your emails are already written and edited and all of those things. Make sure all of that's in place. If you have a time sensitive offer in your emails, in these, emails that you are trying to decide whether you want to use a broadcast or whether you want to use a sequence, if there's a time sensitive offer, you might not want to use sequences. Sequences are meant for more evergreen type emails, emails that can run at any time for any, that aren't really based on time restrictions. Um, you can use sequences if you have time restrictions. You just have to be very, very specific about when those emails go out, what's in those emails, things like that. Your timing is really the most important part. Um, so are your emails written? If they are not already written, all the emails that you want to send, if they're not already written, then you might want to use broadcasts instead of sequences. If you have a time sensitive offer, um, then you might want to use broadcasts. If it's time specific or day specific, then you might want to use broadcasts. Also, another reason why you might want to use broadcast versus sequences is, and this deals with the conditions through which people enter the sequences. So you can set specific conditions, maybe being added to a tag, maybe taking a specific action, purchasing a product. If you expect people to if you expect people to reach those conditions continuously, um, then you have to evaluate, okay, is it due to a time sensitive thing or is it more evergreen? Here's what I mean. So let's say I'm doing a webinar similar to what I'm doing today. If I'm doing a live session or a webinar and I say, hey, the webinar is going to be on August 12th today at 8 p.m. You have, your landing page all set up. Everyone who signs up on the landing page gets, a sequence of emails. If someone signs up on my landing page on August 12th, the day of my webinar, and they enter my sequence, they're going to get the very first email that says, hey, thanks for joining. All right, which is fine. But the next email really should be information on how to join the class, maybe things that they'll need to bring for the class if that's necessary. They need that information right away. They need that information like, what link do I use? Where do I join? Things like that. They wouldn't get that information until email 4, which is maybe 4 days away or 2 weeks away, depending on the timing. So at that point, the automation, that sequence was good. It served its purpose up until maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago. But at 4 or 5 days ago, you would have to adjust things and say, okay, maybe take out a couple of emails in the middle of the sequence because it's gonna the information that they need, they'll get it too late, or reserve that really vital information, that day of information, like the link to join, specific things that they need to bring to the class. You might want to reserve that information specifically for a broadcast. Um, so I hope that this makes sense. So broadcast versus sequences, that's a common question for uh, new people to ConvertKit, as well as experienced people in ConvertKit. I'm always asking that question: should I use a broadcast or should I use a sequence? Because I want to make sure that I am not only just getting my information out there, reaching out to my audience, I also want to make sure that I'm doing it in the most efficient way possible. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to be redundant. I don't want to bombard my audience. I want to make sure that it's smooth and efficient. So when it comes to using broadcasts versus sequences, you really have to ask, okay, who is this going to? What am I trying to achieve here? Do I need to automate this? If it doesn't need to be automated, then a broadcast might work. If you need to send multiple emails related to one topic over a specific period of time, then sequences may be the best option for you. Um, So you really have to evaluate it on a case by case basis. Once you start using ConvertKit more frequently, then it's easy to know, okay, I've been in this situation before. This is what I did. It worked well. Let me do that again. So for example, like I keep using webinar, but it's really the easiest the easiest example I could think of. But a webinar, I know that a sequence works well for a webinar because I've done it before. I've done it for myself. I've set it up for clients, and it works very, very well. What I do is that vital information that, hey, here's the link to join. I say that for a broadcast. That's how I knew how to say it. That's how I knew to give that tip. But all that nurturing information, the confirmation, the ask email asking them to send questions. I know all of that works in a sequence because I've done it before. So I'll say this: if you have a system that works, once you figure out, what works best for you and your subscribers, once you have something that works, turn it into a template. Record yourself as you set it up. Document the process, whether it's recording or writing down the steps. Um, and turn it into a template or a process that you can use every single time. That will save you so much time and energy in the future because you're not doing everything from scratch. You are, taking your time and setting it up one time so that you can do it over and over and over again. That's something that I have learned to do as an email manager. I realized like I'm wasting way too much time trying to do the same things that I do all the time for every client. Like it's not necessary for me to redo it over and over and over again. Let me just do this one time. Let me record it. Let me write out the steps. Let me create a process that I can use again and again so that the next client that I come across or the next time I do this, I already know what to do. I know how to do it. I know where to find the information I'm looking for, and it's done. Boom, done. So I hope that that makes sense for you all. If you have any questions, please let me know. As I was talking, miraculously, I have finished setting up, like, putting the emails into that sequence for the client that I was talking about previously. Um, we are using sequences for this particular launch because my client plans on running ads. So here are a couple of reasons why we're using sequences and not broadcast for this. We could use broadcast because it's going to be like a relaunch. So everyone on the list is free game for this relaunch. So everyone on the list is going to get these emails. But here is why we're using sequences instead of broadcasts. For one, it's a whole lot of emails, a whole lot of emails. We're talking about mm, more than nine. Right now we have nine, but it's probably going to expand to maybe 12 or 13 emails. We have a few sequences in place in this automation. If we tried to put these in broadcast, it would just be way too hectic, entirely too hectic. So we're going with sequences because it's neater, it's cleaner, it's way simpler for the business. Um, Another reason why we're doing sequences instead of broadcasts is because we definitely want to automate this. When this relaunch happens, it's not just going to be just sales emails, it's going to be some nurturing emails as well. And we want to make sure that these are automated so that we're not trying to um, try to send these maybe every week or every day when these emails need to go out. The third reason is because the client is going to be running ads as well. So these emails are initially going to go to everyone on the list. When After everyone on the list has received these emails, at least the first couple of emails, or no, I think once the program is officially relaunched and they start to do the classes, the client will probably start to run ads at that point, and they will go through this nurture sequence and then to the sales sequence. And that is going to make sure that new people who are just being introduced to the brand are not just being sold to immediately. They are learning more about the brand, they are learning more about the program before they are told to, um, hey, purchase. All right. So, um, those are the main three reasons. And we want to automate this because, especially with running ads, there are going to be new people coming onto the list every single day. This client has run ads before, and when she runs ads, those ads be working, honey. She has new people come onto the list every single day. Could you imagine trying to schedule new emails through broadcast every single day? I cannot. I will not. It is no, no, it's not happening. So we're putting it in a sequence because we want everyone on the list to get the same information. There is no time sensitive information because this is an evergreen launch. This program will continue to run. Until the program doesn't run anymore, until the owner decides no, we're not going to do it anymore. So there's no time sensitive stuff. Well, there is a little bit of time sensitive stuff, but it's on the back end. So everyone who's on the list now is going to get like an early bird pricing. They'll get early bird pricing, but that's not in the emails. We don't have that in the emails. We have that on the sales page. So when people go to actually check out, that is when they will see that early bird pricing or not. So there's no time sensitive information in it. People can enroll at any time and be put into the classes at any time, things like that. Um, if you do have like a time sensitive launch, a non evergreen, so it's a normal launch, really a traditional launch, and it's time sensitive, and you have a specific time period where you want to sell to people or where you want to enroll people, you can still do that through sequences. It's just a matter of turning your automation on or off, which I really like about ConvertKit. Most of the email service platforms that offer like this workflow or sequence or automation type feature, they also have the feature where you can turn it on and or turn it off, make it live or not, things like that. So it's just a matter of turning your automation on or turning your workflow on or turning it off. And that's how you can make it, suitable for a time sensitive launch. Um, so yeah, I think that that was all I had on sequences versus broadcast. Both of them actually work extremely well. I have, no complaints about either one, especially with the updates that ConvertKit has made to sequences. They did, I won't say a complete overhaul, but they did include some really important updates that we were all looking for, like the ability to keep subscribers in sequences, even if they have completed all of the emails. So if your newsletters are not time sensitive, if they are like truly an evergreen newsletter, um, then you could put your newsletter in a sequence and you can add more newsletters as time goes on, and you don't have to worry about um, subscribers funneling their way out of the sequence before you're ready to move them out of them. So that was a really cool feature that ConvertKit managers everywhere, like they were like, look, can we do something about this? Because I wasn't done here. Like I wasn't done. Also being able to allow people to restart sequences as well. That was a feature that we were all really looking forward to as well, because, for example, with the webinar example, I have one sequence for webinars. Like I have one webinar that I do. This is just an example. So like I have one webinar that I do. It's my signature webinar, and people sign up for it multiple times. Previously, if you went through my webinar sequence once, you couldn't go through it again. ConvertKit wouldn't allow it. Even if you signed up for it again, ConvertKit wouldn't allow you to go through that sequence again, which was a headache because you would have to duplicate the sequence, turn the old one off, turn the old one on, turn the new one on, make sure everything that needs to be attached to the new one is attached to the new one. It was just a headache and a half. So being able to allow people to restart sequences was extremely valuable for things like that. If you have a launch that maybe you're launching a product or a program, you have, everyone on your list is not going to sign up for your program the first time. So you want to be able to send them through that launch again, all right, without having to duplicate it or create a whole new sequence. Just use the old sequence, maybe update a few things in the emails, add a couple more emails, and send the people right on through it. So that's why that's really, really valuable. It just saves, ConvertKit managers everywhere. We were so happy to see that update. Um, Another feature that I really like about sequences is the ability to choose what days the emails go out on. So let's say I want to do maybe a time sensitive launch, and I have a sales sequence. It has 5 emails in it. And I don't want to send it on the weekends because people don't check emails on the weekends. I can choose to only have my emails go out Monday through Friday. And let's say I have day specific information in my emails. I had a client once. We were using a different system, but ConvertKit would have been great for this client. He had a 5-day plan that was like a lead magnet. Um, and it was like a 5-day workout plan or 5-day fitness plan or something like that. And on day one, you know, day one had days, it was day specific information. Day two had day specific information in it. So we wanted those emails to be sent, day one email has to go out on day one, day two email has to go out on day two. But let's say they also don't want to send it on the weekends. They only want to send it Monday through Friday. Well, you can have the very first email only go out on Monday. And that means that, your emails will run day 1 through 5, Monday through Friday. All right. I really like that feature. It really allows you to like get specific about what information is in your emails, when people are getting these emails, things like that. Things that you may not know about sequences, you can increase the amount of time between your emails. So, when do you want to send this email? How many days do you after the last email? Is it one day after the last email? So, if I receive an email today, day one, email one in the sequence on Thursday, and it's the cadence is one day. I'll receive email two tomorrow. But let's say I want to send emails on Friday, or I want to make sure it's at least, wow, I want to make sure it's at least 3 days between my emails. I can choose 3 days. I can choose 5 days. I can choose 7 days, whatever works. That's also good for your newsletters as well. So you can choose the day. Okay, my newsletters go out on Friday. I only want to send these out on Friday. So I uncheck everything else. And I want to send them every 7 days. So they're not receiving a newsletter uh, on Friday and then maybe a newsletter on Thursday. I don't know. Um, so yeah, every 7 days, that's how you would do like a weekly newsletter, things like that. So really cool features. Let's see, because yesterday ConvertKit was doing some updates and it was glitching. So I see that they did like some interface changes. It looks a little bit different, but I don't see like any big updates to like sequences and stuff. The last time, oh snap, they did do a little bit of change, but it's really just user stuff, user interface, user design, things like that. Make it a little bit more intuitive. Everybody's got the everybody's changing their interface. I swear I was on Google today and it looked different. Maybe it was because I had been on Twitter and Twitter looked different, so I thought everything else looked different. But that's neither here nor there. That's really it that I have for today. I'm rambling at this point. So, answering the question, should I use sequences or broadcasts for my emails? It really just depends. It's very situational. Usually, if you have a launch, um, evergreen or non or traditional, doesn't matter. A launch, if you want to do like a welcome sequence or thank you emails, multiple welcome emails, multiple thank you emails, multiple emails during a launch, whether it's nurturing or sales. Those would be good for a sequence. Um, as long as you don't have too much like time sensitive stuff in there. If it doesn't matter when people get the emails, if it doesn't matter too much, as far as like sequentially. Um, then those, if your emails are already written, they're already written for, please, for launch managers, email managers everywhere. If your emails are not done, please do not submit them for an automated sequence that will run automatically without us paying attention to it. I beg you. Um, if you're managing your stuff on your own, please feel free. Go to your settings in your sequence. Make sure that people stay in the sequence even when the emails are done. If you have someone managing your emails, just have your emails written. Just wait until they are written to start that automation, that sequence. Otherwise, do what makes you happy. Um, if you are sending announcements, extremely time sensitive, like you have 30 minutes or you have 1 hour type stuff, you have, 3 days type stuff, um, send those through a broadcast announcements. Maybe so that falls up like I'm live right now, like those sorts of emails. Those are good for broadcast. Newsletters, I prefer to do newsletters through like email blasts. I just think it's better than doing sequences. However, you do have the option. Like that is your choice. You can do your newsletter through sequences if, you know, not time sensitive, um, things like that. So we're at 50 minutes now. It's been a good 50 minutes. I've finalized the sequence in the last 50 minutes and I've talk my head off about broadcasting sequences. I hope that this is valuable for you. If you're not already, please join my email list where I give out more tips like this. Um, for how to make email marketing work for your business. Remember that I do have something dropping in a couple of months. You want to make sure that you are on my list so that you can get that information, get priority scheduling, get priority pricing for that as well. And just stay in tune with what I have going on. I This is my first time doing Let's Do Email Marketing. It was kind of like it was kind of random. I thought about it yesterday and I said, let's do it. And my email audience got it first. So um, they got that announcement first. So if you have any questions, please feel free. If you're watching the replay, drop hashtag replay. Let me know. And if you have a question, you can drop it in the chat as well. I will see it and be happy to answer it. You may come up with the next topic for the next Let's Do Marketing. So I had a blast. I hope that you did too. Hope that you learned something. And I'll catch you all later. Catch me on Twitter. I'll be on there, dropping gems and, you know, interacting with the people. Join my email list. My newsletter goes out on Fridays. So if you're on the list, be on the lookout for my newsletter tomorrow. So I'm out of here. I'm gonna stop rambling now. Bye.